Hey, what's up, parents? Dr. Tony here, and we are going to, it's just me here, going to answer some questions that you guys put up earlier this week about PANDAS and all the challenges that goes in with that neuro-immune challenge that so many of our kids face these days. And then we'll also talk about, and it's all kind of within the same neurological thread, we'll talk about sensory processing disorder and picky eaters. First up, I gotta apologize. Speaking of, we're going to actually talk a lot about the throat when it comes to PANDAS and picky eaters. And mine is a little bit worn out. We just got done over the last week, kind of plus, we just got done teaching two 20-hour continuing education certificate courses for 120 pediatric chiropractors because so many parents like you are so awesomely wanting to get to the root of your kids' challenges. And to get to the root of your kids' challenges, you've got to get into their nervous system. We got to really talk about the autonomic and central nervous system. And the most direct impact, the biggest change you can make into your child's neurology is really through a pediatric chiropractic specialist. There's so much we can talk about. Some of the other questions were about supplements and nutrition and diet and detoxes. And there is absolutely a way to access the nervous system and access the brain through the gut. But there's a more direct access to the central nervous system, and that is the access that chiropractors can have. And I want to talk about it here with PANDAS and sensory. So apologize for my voice. I've been talking a lot. It's kind of the nature of my job, and it's wearing out on me a little bit. So with PANDAS, the number one thing I want to talk about on this video, and please share, please tag any and all parents or groups or doctors that deal anything with PANDAS, because this is the single most overlooked thing. I am trained, certified in all the biomedical, all the detox, all the supplements, all the things. But the thing that we have found sticking out like a sore thumb, unattended to in nearly every PANDAS and PANS case is a significantly traumatic birth trauma. Now, what birth trauma does, that's really the foundational element of our perfect storm work that is different than a lot of other practitioners. What we see again and again is that physical trauma to the vertebrae, to the muscles, to the ligaments, to the spinal, we call it the neurospinal system, in the upper neck and cervical spine is really what leaves these kids susceptible to the ongoing strep infections, to the ongoing opportunistic challenges, and to all of the inability to detox and get rid of this stuff. And so there is absolutely a three-way kind of triangle. I should have grabbed my whiteboard for this video. I can post up a picture in the comments. But it's the nervous system that really connects and modulates the immune system and the digestive system. And they go in both directions, but when you really create what's called a subluxation in that cervical region, that subluxation leaves everything stuck. What happens is the first thing that gets stuck is what we call, remember I'm a farmer from Iowa, we call the plumbing of it. Our ears, so kids with PANDAS have a really bad, really tough time plumbing. They cannot get the fluid out of their ears, sinuses, and throat and into the respiratory system. They can't get the fluid out of their lymphatics. There is literal physical obstruction that keeps this fluid, keeps this mucus sitting around longer than it should. And if you ever did grow up on a farm, it's actually mud season right now. If you're a farmer, we call spring and fall mud season. And there is bugs and there's creatures everywhere in that mud because it's sticky and it's stuck. And it's a great place for even not good bugs to set up shop and hang out. So PANDAS is kids who are always stuck. The reason that kids with PANDAS don't handle seasonal changes, and they really, when they get sick, they get to anxiety and they get to sensory and they get to all these other OCD sort of things, is because even when they're not sick, they're not clear. Until that subluxation, until that birth trauma element and that cervical spine subluxation, and I can spell it out in a comment when we get done, until that is addressed, everything else is limited. Any nutritional intervention, any dietary intervention, any supplementation, essential oils, homeopathics, anything you try and put into a neurologically stuck and stressed system, which is PANDAS have that to the nth degree, it's going to have less degree of effectiveness. So put that all together. When you add adjustments. Now, it's got to be the right kind of adjustments. The biggest thing that even chiropractors miss when taking care of PANDAS kids is they literally don't adjust them in the right places. There's a specific what we call technique and targeting that we use through our scans to know exactly where these kids need to be adjusted to give them the most amount of neurological improvement. And then the second thing chiropractors miss with PANDAS all the time is they don't adjust them frequently enough. This may sound like a crazy number because a lot of chiropractors will just recommend once a month or every other week for kids for chiropractic care. For PANDAS kiddos and the chronic neuro-immune just sensitivity and susceptibility they have, they need to be adjusted for wellness. We call it supportive neuro-immune sensory care. They need to be adjusted twice a week. And then during the seasonal and stressful times, we actually will ramp up their adjustments to 3 times a week. And using that dosage, not my favorite word because we're always here to help kids without drugs, but by upping the dosage of chiropractic for PANDAS and PANS kids, you get the most incredible results. Not only do the adjustments do amazing things themselves for that child, but when you get the right adjustments at the right place, at the right frequency, which is the absolute art of our PX Doc tribe that sets us apart from other chiropractors. When you do that, then everything else works better. Then the emotional support you're providing your child sticks and works better. The nutritional, dietary, homeopathic support has an open channel through the nervous system if it's not stressed. So I could go on and on, I already have, but when it comes to PANDAS, the missing link is not just chiropractic care, because I gotta get details on that. You gotta get pediatric focused, neurologically focused, subluxation based pediatric care, and they gotta adjust them frequently. These kids are very undercared for in a general regular chiropractic model, and that is the ticket with PANDAS. It makes all the difference in the world, and we have so many PANDAS kids who used to just constantly be on that roller coaster up and down and so sensitive to immune challenges and emotional challenges and seasonal changes. And now that roller coaster is so much more smoothed out and those kids are living their best life, which is our favorite thing in the world. So that is the video for PANDAS. That is the answer for that. Second part of this video, let's talk about picky eaters and sensory processing. My answer is going to be super similar. When I first got all certified and trained in my early years as a pediatric chiropractor, and I learned all about nutrition and supplements and changes and the things that could help in that world of sensory, when we would get a sensory kiddo in and the family would say, hey, this is what's going on, we would throw the book at them, just like all the Facebook groups and everything else. The biggest thing that practitioners and guides and groups miss when helping our sensory perfect storm kids is we got to put things in the right order or the right sequence. And a lot of times we got to be patient. And as a parent, when my kids are struggling, actually my whole life, I despise the word patience. I'm not like my patience. I love my patience. I mean the one with the C in it, okay? Like being methodical and being sequential. And where I'm going with this to the answer of, hey, how do you help a picky eater sensory kid is you actually first have to root out all of the way the reason they're a picky eater in the first place. So back to a chiropractic thing. Sensory processing disorder is a very specific, what we call pattern of subluxation in the neck. It generally is a subluxation to do with the second cervical vertebrae, nicknamed the axis. C2 and C3 are the most overlooked part of adjusting for a lot of chiropractors. And again, it may sound like, there's just a specialty here. This isn't that other chiropractors aren't absolutely fantastic at helping families, but when you talk about PANDAS and you talk about sensory and you talk about neuro, perfect storm kids, there is a level of specificity and detail that you just can't know about until you have taken care of thousands of these kids, or you're in a training program or mentorship program like we provide to other docs and our interns, using that experience to put this together. So what happens around that second and third and then mid-cervical, that is where swallowing happens. And so when there's a subluxation, those nerves and those muscles are sensitive. That is the nature of sensory processing. And so certain foods are harder to digest because of that mechanics, because of those neurobiomechanics interference and inefficiency. So if you put that all together again, if you get a chiropractor on your team, a PX doc who knows what they're doing, and you can get rid of that subluxation all of the way, not a little bit of the way, not a sort of bit of the way, but you actually really have to work on chiropractic only for sensory kids for about 90 days. before you even want to bother changing diet or supplements at all. It takes that long to actually get rid of the subluxation memory. We've all heard of muscle memory. Well, subluxation, really what that is neurological memory. Our brain and our central nervous system stores this muscle memory in its hard drive, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So what picky eater sensory kids have is they have not good memories about digesting certain foods. The more complex, aka the more healthy that food, the more difficult it is for an interfered with, which is subluxation, the more difficult it is for a subluxated nervous system to chew, digest, assimilate, and absorb. So those inefficiencies that come from subluxation all the way through that system, they will pile back up and they will retrain essentially that kid's brain to say, no, I'm not even going within 10,000 feet of that. I will never forget our favorite victories, because we know you guys are rockstar healthy wellness families. We know how badly and awesomely you are ready to get your child on a healthy diet, to get your kiddo those supplements, to get your children doing these good things. But you got to get subluxation out the way first. And even a lot of chiropractors in our profession, they're throwing everything at a patient at once. And what we really need to do is we need to be sequential and we need to put it in the right batting order. I'm a baseball guy. You got to get things moving in the right direction neurologically before you can change things dietary and supplement wise. And when you do that in the right order and you really focus on clearing that subluxation that was causing that muscle memory, that picky eating in the first place, and it takes longer than you want, parents. Trust me, some kids amaze us and they get better in a hot minute, but it generally takes 90 days. If the child is older and has really struggled with this for many, many years and they're already kind of 6, 7, 8 years old. And again, I'm going to say bad habits, but it's literally bad habits into the neuromuscular memory. It's not by any flipping means. It's not bad parenting. It's bad neurology that you need us to fix so your rockstar parenting can take root. That's how this works. That's what this really is. And I know it can feel like, what am I doing wrong? I can't get my kid to eat healthy. They just want the mac and cheese and they just want the sugar. You got to get us on your team to get the nervous system taken care of first. And then your results as an awesome wellness, health-minded parent will go through the roof because you'll have an open pathway for your kid's neurology instead of a shut, subluxated, tense one. So really kind of similar answer for the PANDAS and the picky eater sensory. It takes a long, deep, thorough, really well done, pediatric, neurologically focused chiropractic care plan. You got to really get that job done first. And then you start to add the other elements to it and really good things happen for your child. So that's the essence of it. That's the essence of the perfect storm. We got a couple people jumping on. I'll put just one more minute of putting this all together. Whether it's sensory, whether it's PANDAS, whether it's anxiety, you actually have to mirror the way that child got sick to get them well. And what we see all the time is that before toxins, before the infections, before the emotions, before the delays even showed up, there was that physical birth trauma to the upper neck and brainstem area from birth, or even for a lot of cases from breech and positioning earlier. So even in our natural holistic world, we're so obsessed with toxins that we forget about the physical neuromotor elements that actually starts the neurological, physiological, immunological, gastroenterological storm for so many kids. So if you want to get your kids' emotions better, behavior better, diet better, gut better, immune system better, you got to start with the nervous system first. And that means the first most important practitioner on your kid's healthcare team is your neurologically focused pediatric chiropractor. If you need help finding one to get the job done, you're not near us in Crystal Lake, Chicagoland, do not worry. The reason my voice is gone is because when I'm not in the practice or hanging with my kiddos, I am training other chiropractors and teaching them how to do this. So we have a network all over the world, all over the country. We've got a directory. All you need to do is comment, put it below. If you don't want to put it in the comment stream for privacy, no problem. Send us a direct message. we will get you to a PX doc near you so you can get done for your child what you learned about in this video. Again, keep the questions coming. We want to help you to your specific challenges. We can always do our big workshops and our webinars and our videos about all the different stuff we love to do, but we love to get specific. We love to be there for you and for your child. And even if that means I'll never be the one getting to do the adjustments for your kiddo, if I get to train your chiropractor in Idaho, California, New Mexico, that's a blessing as well. So just ask for help and we will be there to give it to you. I promise, forever forward.